All right. Welcome everyone. Again, a technology on topic, and we're working through three different machines here working on technology. And so, of course, it's a hybrid meeting, and so that adds a whole nother level of fun and excitement to the room. Um, and yeah, so we're looking forward to offering this to you. There's a bunch of people in our in person here and on Zoom that I don't know. So I will introduce myself first. My name is Guy Tragrasso, President and CEO of the Bellingham Regional Chamber of Commerce. If you don't know where you're at one of our programs that we call our On Topic series. And so this is a member to member learning opportunity. So Dana, who we will introduce momentarily, is a member who is very knowledgeable about AI, and this is our second AI topic in the last number of months. And so it's great to see so many people being interested, wanting to learn this. And that's a core tenet of why the chamber exists, is to provide professional education for our business community. And so again, there's a number of you who are not members. And so I'd love to invite you to consider joining the chamber, because the more members we have, the more networking and connection opportunities we have, the more talent development, things like workforce, things like education like this, and of course, the better advocacy that we can do. So open invitation. If you're not a member, join the chamber. We'd love to have you. With that said, you're not here to listen to me talk. And I'm going to be behind the scenes, or at least across the table from Dana, providing some back end support as we run the hybrid meeting. And so with that, I am going to mute the in conference room microphone, and Dana, we're going to allow you to. We should be good.
Okay.
Oh.
We're having a musical performance
Yeah.
before the show here.
Oh, get it.
I'm going to turn off this speaker.
Yeah. So Dana,
Yeah.
it's all you.
Okay. So I'm going to say hi, everybody. I'm Dana Rozier, founder of Nova Consulting AI. And I started the business a few years ago because AI, it's going to change the world, and it truly has. And today's workshop is going to be on Claude. We're not going deep into Claude. It's more of we all probably started with ChatGPT. I did. Yes, I started with ChatGPT when it started. Claude's been in the news lately, but I've been using Claude for a couple of years. And today I want to show you like why I choose Claude over ChatGPT for a lot of the workflows that I do. And I used to be the ChatGPT fangirl. Now I'm the Claude fangirl. And who knows, maybe next week I'll be the Gemini fangirl, depending on how the AI is changing. Okay, so I started using Claude 2 years ago because Claude has something called projects, and ChatGPT at the time didn't have projects. So I'll show you what we're going to go through, like all the reasons I love Claude, and then I'll share my screen and we'll go through everything. So this is what I want to show you why I use Claude. I love Claude projects. It's different than ChatGPT. Claude can deliver some awesome client deliverables. It has built-in Word doc and Excel sheets that I use all the time. If you've been hearing about Cowork, we're going to touch on Cowork at the end. Cowork is like an AI agent that I actually trust. We're going to go over a little bit about AI adoption, what makes it really stick in your business. And at the end, I'm really curious to hear everybody's questions. So I'm going to get into projects first. And if you're on Zoom, you have to share, unshare your screen. So I'm going to stop share, reshare, and get into Claude. So let me stop share, reshare, and there. Let me jump over to Claude. Okay, so Claude looks a lot like all the other AIs. There's a place to chat, all the stuff on the sidebar, and this is where you can do your model picker. And I like to use Opus because it's a super smart Claude model. So that's just like a basic Claude. It looks like it. And I want to get into projects. So if you used a ChatGPT project, you know what they are. And if you haven't, I just work on folders on my desktop. And in the folder, like I have a bunch of client folders and I have information about that client, PDFs about that client, notes about that client, and they're all dumped into the folder. And that's the glorious thing about Claude. And it's different than ChatGPT projects for this reason. I'll show you. So when I do a project, these are some of the projects I just have set up. And here's why I like projects. Chat GPT projects are different than Claude projects. So if I was going to create a new project, I'm just going to call it test. I'll just set it. And I can describe what project I'm trying to do. But here's where the power is. Okay, so in a Claude project, this is what it has that ChatGPT doesn't have. It has its own memory within the project. It says start a chat to keep conversations organized and reuse the project. And then the memory is going to show up after a few chats. So as you talk and have chats with your project, it's going to build internal memory all by itself, and it gets updated every night in the project. And ChatGPT just has universal memory. So you have memory built into your project. And I think it's really powerful. And just like ChatGPT, you can give your project instructions, how you want it to act. And this is also the power of a Claude project. You can upload a lot more files to Claude than you can ChatGPT. And this is when I really started using Claude projects. I was working with a client for 6 months and I wanted to dump all the transcripts of all the workshops, all our meetings, all the check-ins into a project. And I knew ChatGPT has a limit like a 20 or 25, and I was going to have in tons of files. And Claude not only has like a bigger memory for files, it can allow you to upload more. So imagine this. So I have think of how much memory that would take and all the information in 6 months worth of transcripts working with a client. So I could talk to those transcripts through my project file. So this is why I like projects. You could upload lots of files. You can talk to it. It has memory within the project. And then I'm going to get into what Claude excels at for client deliverables. So at the end of that 6-month project, I could comb through all the transcripts and suss out what tools did I teach? What skills did they learn? What mindset shifts did the people happen over the course of 6 months? And before AI, if I had to do that myself, it would take hours and hours and hours. So I could chat with AI. And then we decided instead of writing a written report, to create an interactive dashboard. And if you've heard of the term vibe coding, this is really what this means. I couldn't code an interactive website, but the AI sure could. So I'll show you what Claude came up with. And this was in October. And I'll show you a different interactive dashboard that it came up with a few months ago because AI changes so quickly all the time. Okay, so this is the interactive dashboard. And it's all
Oh,
I took
how
away
much do we
all the
charge for sister
I took away it's
texted
scrub
me
clean
last night
of data.
and asked
So
how much we
somebody
charge
can
for a
read
dozen of the
Indiana.
loaded leprechauns.
Okay, so I couldn't have coded this. So check out what it does. It built this all on its own. And I told it my brand colors. So watch. It gave like a snapshot of our training, the journey. Here's all the workshops we gave. And then you click toolkit. Here's all the tools people learned, creative uses. And it built all this by itself. And we had to have some conversation back forth. So this is called, right? I couldn't have coded this website, but it did. So I wound up giving this to my client instead of just a document, a boring Word doc. And I said, I can give you the Word doc if you want a Word doc. And she said, no, this is much better. So this is the kind of thing that Claude excels at. It has really good design skills. So I'm going to get back into Claude because I want to show you another interactive dashboard that I developed for something else. Okay, let me get into Claude. And this is my Claude workshop. Okay. So a lot of you guys, this will be appropriate for a lot of you guys. I went to a Women Plus AI conference in February. And at the very end workshop, I went into a group of women who had been doing AI training. And we were tasked with coming up with sticky notes, right? What do we know builds AI literacy and what do we know spreads AI literacy? So at the end of the workshop, there's this whiteboard full of sticky notes. And I went up and took a picture of the sticky notes. So I'll just show you, and you might get dizzy as I have to scroll up to the very top. Okay, shut your eyes if you get dizzy when people scroll through at 10,000 miles an hour. It was a very long conversation, as you can see. Okay. So here's the whiteboard of sticky notes. And I'm in Claude in a project, and I just said, read these sticky notes, right? Can we read them? No, as humans, we can't read them. The AI could read them. And I said, I want you to come up with themes. What are the themes across all those sticky notes? I said, it doesn't matter the colors because I didn't want it to get hung up on the colors. So the AI was able to transcribe and read all these sticky notes and come up with themes about building AI literacy across all of it. So then I also had it create an interactive dashboard. And so check out, I'll show you the difference. So this is what it looked like, the kind of dashboard it could create October. This is the dashboard it created in February. So I think it's a much more sophisticated looking product because it has new skills built into Claude. And so this is, I'll just show you what it works. Then we'll do a different one. So this is another client deliverable that is so awesome. These are the 7 themes it came up with. And it did this all on its own. This was a single shot prompt. I didn't goof around with this at all. And I'll just do leadership and commitment. So that was one of the 7 themes. And then it says leadership and commitment. These are all the sticky notes transcribed, what spreads AI literacy, what builds AI literacy. And then it did this all its own, you guys. So there it's all. Then I could click this button. Here's all the sticky notes that said build AI literacy and spread AI literacy. So this is the kind of things that Claude excels at creating. You don't have to be a coder. You just have to tell it. You just have to know what you want to do and have it and tell it what it wants to do. So Claude it's great for projects. The client deliverables are awesome. And then besides UI, user interface skills like it has for this, it also has in Word doc skills and Excel skills. So I'll show you a Word doc skill that I built off of this this interactive dashboard. So I told Claude and I had a conversation. I said, yeah, this is all well and good, right? Sticky notes, we know what works, but there's no action items. Like, so what? What are people supposed to do with it? So then it said, what if I create a Word doc that lists these 7 themes and gives people action items under each one? I said, yeah, that sounds great. So I'll show you what it developed. I know I have to reshare my screen. Does it? Oh, there it is. Okay. So it has Word doc skills. And if you asked me to develop a Word doc that looks this good, this organized, maybe it would have spent me, I don't know, maybe I would have spent 2 hours, 3 hours on this. So training and hands-on learning was one of the themes it came up with. And then it built action cards underneath each one. So my point is, look how well this is designed. That is such a time saver. So Claude really excels at creating Word docs you just tell it what to do and it creates, and it's a real Word doc. You can open it up and change it. That's what's super powerful about it too. And I was creating a workbook for some workshop and I had Claude create all the workbook pages for me. What a time saver. So Claude, it's great with projects. It's great with client deliverables. It can do Word docs for you. And then it also excels at spreadsheets. And you know what? I'll just show you my spreadsheet. I'll show you my spreadsheet skills. Okay, this is like a typical Dana spreadsheet. You know, it has some numbers in it, and this is what it looks like. But Claude also has built-in Excel skills, so it can create gorgeous Excel sheets for you. It can analyze Excel sheets. It can do all sorts of things. So I'm just going to stop share and let me share Claude itself again. So these are all the time savers that Claude, I know they're not, some of, I think the client deliverables are pretty rousy, but it's all these things are such time savers. And let me find my, hold on, you guys. I'm gonna find the Chrome. There you go. So I'm just gonna get back into Claude. And then I'll show you the spreadsheet it came up with. Hold on. I have all these tools are in my way. Okay, so I dumped the ugly spreadsheet into Claude and I just gave it a prompt like most people would give it, right? I didn't think too hard on it. This is just off the top of your cuff. I said, can you use your Excel skills to make this look nicer, right? That boring, I did. And then it said, sure. So like presto changeo, there you go. It made this gorgeous Excel sheet. Then I said, hey, can you make a graph out of this to list my monthly expenses? And it being the good person that it is, the good AI that it is, it said, sure. And so let's see if you can see the expense. Oh, I'll just click it up here. So it created this chart. And could I have created this chart? I probably could have created this chart, but it would have taken me forever. So Claude really shines at projects, client deliverables, Word docs, Excel sheets, and it excels at a lot of other things too. But those are the ones I use it for. That's pretty wowsy. And then the last thing I want to share with you guys that's really impressive, and I don't know if you might have been hearing about it. It's something called Claude Cowork. And this is different. Right now I'm in my browser, and Claude Cowork is built by Anthropic, the same people who build Claude, but it's an AI that can do work for you. It's a super powerful tool, and I just want to touch on some of the things that it can do. So I'm going to stop share, and then I have to reshare because Claude is a desktop app. Okay.
You mean Claude Cowork?
Part of Claude Cowork, yeah, Claude Cowork. All right.
Well, Claude's the desktop app and then Cowork is one of the extra options.
Oh,
get when
gotcha,
you're in the desktop
gotcha.
app. Okay.
So it used to only be for Macintosh users, yes, but now it's available for for Windows users too. So you have to download Cowork onto your desktop. And this is what it looks like. I'm in the Cowork tab at the top. And if I click on chat, then I'm just in regular old Claude. I know it's called chat and there's ChatGPT, whatever. So this is regular old Claude. This is Claude Cowork. Claude Cowork is the first AI agent that I felt comfortable using because it's made by Anthropic, the people who make Claude. And this is how I feel Cowork is pretty safe. You can give Cowork access to files on your desktop. You could give it to access to your whole desktop. You can give it access to other things, but I felt comfortable giving an AI access to one folder on my desktop and letting it do things with that folder. It could read and write files for me. It could look at my whole desktop. That's pretty cool. There is so much to Claude Cowork, but I just want to show you how an AI can actually do work for you these days, as opposed to you just chatting with it. And yeah, it can create an Excel spreadsheet, but it's not doing the kind of work that Cowork is able to do. So here's what I had to do, and I'll show you. I'll screen share in a sec of the video I made of it. I gave it access to a messy folder on my desktop. And I said, hey, Cowork, can you organize this desktop folder for me? And it said, sure. So it looked to see all the files I had in there. I had Markdown files, I have SVG files, I have HTML files, I have Word doc files, PDF files, all sorts of files. And it could read all those files, decide how they should be organized. It suggested folders. Well, Dana, what do you think if we put them in these kind of folders? I said, yeah, that sounds good. I said, go ahead. So then it created files in my folder or folders in my folder. And then all the docs went into those correct folders. And it also said, I suggest that you delete some of these files in this folder because they're old. I said, sure, that sounds good. Would you like me to delete those files? No, I said, I'll delete those files. So the video I'm going to show you is of my messy folder. You'll see folders appear at the bottom. That's totally Cowork doing it. I wasn't touching my computer, and you're going to see folders, files disappear into the folders. I wasn't touching my computer. So this is the kind of power that an AI agent who has access to your computer with your permission can do for you. It is totally
Audio.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there audio on the video?
No, no, there's not. Oh yeah, that's a good question. All right, let me look at my, oh yeah. No, hold on. This isn't the one I wanted to do. I have two of them for you guys. I want to do the desktop cleanup one. I know. Let me just try one more time. I just see an email in here, and that's not the one. And I keep clicking desktop. And if it doesn't work for some glitchy reason, we'll just see. Oh heavens. All right. Tell me what you guys see. Oh, that is so weird. On my desktop, oh, okay. I see that you guys are seeing my messy folder, but on my desktop, I'm seeing something else. All right. Huh, that's so weird. Okay, I don't know. Let me just click in to see what works, you guys. So this is my messy folder that I had clean up, and you should see folders appear down here, but I don't see it on my Dana Mac that I'm driving my stuff off of. So let's see if the video starts. Nah, the video's not starting. Hmm. I'm just gonna let me just see what happens. Let me hold on. Nah, this is weird. All right, it's a techno glitch. I'm gonna stop share, see, and I'll show you another one I built. This is called the techno glitch that happens. All right. All right, so you didn't get to see it clean up my desktop, but it can, I promise you. Now we're on another screen. So here's what else Cowork can do. I have this whole workflow I do. You guys have been there. So I'm part of the eWomen Network community. We have these calls on Monday and you get put into Zoom rooms. So I meet these women in Zoom rooms and I take a screenshot of every woman, right, of all of us in the Zoom room. And then here's what I do in real life. I did this before I went to co-work. I'd get out my spreadsheet and I'd type in all the women's names. And then I'd go to the membership site, type in their names, and get their email and put it on my spreadsheet. And then I'd write each woman an email. Hi, so and so, I'm Dana. I met you in the Zoom room, blah, blah, blah. And then I'd send the email, time consuming. So now Cowork is able to do that for you. How? I taught it my workflow. I said, okay, I do a screenshot and I walked it through the steps. So now if I upload a screenshot from the Zoom room, it knows to use that skill and it does that whole workflow. It grabs the emails, it puts them in, and it writes the women an email. So what you're going to see on here, this is my Gmail. You're going to see typing appear, and this is Cowork doing it all. I told it what to type. So it knows what to type. And then it doesn't send it because I told it not to do that before I gave it permission. So watch. Okay, this is a computer writing an email for me after it had gotten everybody's email address. And I just blocked out the woman's address up here for privacy reasons. Okay, so and I sped it up a little bit because, typing was a little slow. So here's Dana watching this happen on her computer, drinking a cup of coffee. And I wasn't doing this. Cowork was doing this. And then if I said, sure, do it, I clicked send and it would send it to the person. Are you kidding me? When I saw what Cowork can do, I thought this is changing the future of work because now AI can do things that humans could only do. And I feel safe with Anthropic's products, but I didn't feel safe with a lot of other projects. So I'm just starting with Cowork, getting used to it because it's this huge, it's so powerful. And I'm going to show you one last thing. So what I've been showing you today is AI literacy, right? We're all learning about all these tools, the cool things they can do. But if you're at a company, and I came in and gave a workshop, so what? Then you give one workshop. Okay, that's a start. But what I wanted to share with you is a way to make AI adoption stick at your company. Let me get back to my PowerPoint. So that's the messy spreadsheet. All right. So I just wanted to show this. I came up with this idea after teaching a lot of people AI. What makes it stick? So at the core is AI literacy. Everybody has to know what is AI, what can it to do. But then if you're in an organization, there needs to be some environmental factors that need to be in place for AI really adoption to stick at your company. So the AI spark is the person who gets that ball rolling, who starts the initiative. And sometimes it's the leader of the company, sometimes it's a staff member, but there has to be somebody saying, AI, we've got to do this. It's so great. And then you need leadership support. So leadership just can't buy everybody AI licenses and say, okay, go. It's just not going to work, right? So leadership has to be using AI themselves. Yes, you do. It's true. They have to carve out time for people to learn AI. They have to let you know that you're not going to lose your job because you're losing AI, and also develop safety guidelines. So when you are inputting AI into your companies, you're inputting customer info into your AI at work. You know what's safe and not safe. And safe spaces in an organization means two things. There's a safe space to play with AI, so you're not going to give away company secrets, and a cultural safe space to know it's okay to experiment, it's okay to fail, it's okay to try new things, and I'm not going to lose my job because I'm learning AI. And then the other thing organizations need to have in place is peer learning. So a lot of people work in silos, but it's best if peers across the company learn AI together. It could be through a Slack channel. You could have a meeting every Friday to talk about AI, but somehow everybody in the company needs to learn from each other because that's how people learn mostly. It's not really top-down learning, it's from each other. So I just call it the core plus 4. This makes AI adoption stick. And whether you use Claude, ChatGPT, Gemini, you need to have AI literacy at the core. And that's my workshop because I can't wait to, oh yeah, that's Claude Cowork. So I want to open it up to discussions and what people are thinking, asking, or curious about.
Okay, so we've got, try to do this.
Yeah, good luck.
Which mic do I use? I'm gonna try and restart.
And I could, oh, I might be doing some of the answers, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I'm answering.
So mute your speakers.
All
All
right,
right.
so I'll read the
read
chat because we're gonna be using this microphone.
I will be speaking to all owl, you guys.
And if everyone online just type. So let's not try to get the audio, your audio on, that could get real messy real quick. So thanks for your patience on this. So I'm just gonna start at the tippy top. And so first from Trisha, can projects be used with the free version?
Yes, they just came out with that a few months ago, but you know, the project on anything on free, it's truncated. You only get so much use, but it is a great place to start with projects. Free is always a good place to start. Make sure you toggle off. You don't want AI being trained on your data.
Shut
too, if it's on. It is on.
It is on.
Yeah. So if you
Yeah, bottom left corner there, Dana. Right, bottom left corner, bottom screen.
well, this is me.
Oh,
This is that.
All right, let me find my, you can come over. There you go.
Yeah. So
Okay.
thumbs up if that fixed the echo. Thumbs up
Echoes
for
drives you nuts.
perfect. Okay. So next question is, what's the difference between ChatGPT's universal memory and Claude's project memory?
Yes. If you're in a project with ChatGPT, it remembers the universal things you said, but it doesn't remember all the stuff you talked about in that project. And that's the glory of Claude projects. It has that huge memory of what you talked about. So you don't have to reintroduce anything. I think it's super powerful and it updates every night. Unlike, my chat doesn't update very often anymore. I really like memory in in Claude projects.
Okay. So also from Alyssa, how do you migrate or transfer data from ChatGPT to Claude so you don't have to start all over? Or are there some best practices with that?
Yes, I don't know if, I think this is pretty interesting, right? So the brouhaha with the Pentagon came out and a lot of people said, leaving ChatGPT and going to Claude. So Claude has on its website, I'd have to find the link. It tells you how to migrate your information from ChatGPT to Claude.
I could do that. Next question from Julie. I have observed that the quality of the prompt correlates to the quality of the AI output. Can you share what prompt you used to create the web page with the interactive dashboard? Was that a public or private web page?
It was, well, the one for the client was private, and then the one for Vanderbilt University was public. What prompt did I give? Oh, you guys, I just talk to AI like it's a person. Okay, I'm thinking about creating an interactive dashboard. What do you suggest? And maybe it'll say something. It'll say, no, I think this. So you know what? I don't really feel like I'm the prompt queen because AIs have to have a lot of context on you. But if you're in a project, it has a lot of context on you. The context is huge in AI. It has to know about you and what you want, or else it
A
can't.
trick I learned a year or so ago was use the AI to write its own prompts.
Yeah.
So go to GPT, tell it, write a prompt for Claude to do this. Wow.
And it's true. You can have an AI write a prompt, but the AIs are getting so smart that they're pretty good at inferring what you mean these days.
So next question from Lara, does Claude offer confidential options for HR or HIPAA compliance?
Yeah, there is Claude in the Teams. Teams is more secure than the $20 a month pro version.
Okay. From Nicole, what made you comfortable with the company that makes Claude and not other companies?
Claude from the beginning wanted to be an honest, open, and ethical AI company, and that's how they've been touting themselves from the beginning. And just for example, I have a girlfriend who will not use ChatGPT right now because they were going to allow adult content to be created on their website. And she said she just couldn't do that from a moral standpoint. And I just thought, you know what, Anthropic wouldn't do that.
So from JD, I've used a little AI to help with some executive functioning related to ADHD, but I've yet to hit a stride to optimize it for helping with my symptoms. Any thoughts on how neurodivergent folks can use it to our advantage so we keep coming back to it?
Heck fire, I'm neurodivergent myself. So do I love AI? Sure. So I think part of it is the free versions aren't as smart as the paid versions. So I use the paid version. Boy, you guys, you go out to lunch in Bellingham and it's 20 bucks right there, and AI is 20 bucks a month. Just saying that you should use it. And I don't know, I think it does quite well because you could tell an AI, I'm dyslexic, I'm whatever, and it would give you answers that would help clarify that. Like sometimes, like I'll do super sophisticated, like PhD level. I'm reading so I dumped the PDF into AI and said, "Can you explain it to me like a smart high schooler?" And it'll do that. So just tell AI what you want.
Okay, so next question. How easy is it to transfer what I have in my PD chat to Claude? So that may be Chat GPT. So
Yeah. Yeah, if you go
there
to
are
the,
tutorials on that.
yes,
Paid chat clarification. So in my paid chat to Claude.
yeah. ChatGPT to Claude, go to the Claude website. If you Google, how do I transfer my chat memory or chat knowledge to Claude, I bet you'll find it.
So someone was telling me, so debunk this or confirm it. Someone was telling me that if you go into Claude and start using it a little bit, kind of creating a foundation, and then migrate your ChatGPT data, it's better outcomes. True or false?
Dunno.
Perfect.
Dunno, because I've been using Claude for 2 years, so I don't know.
Okay. All right. I am not seeing any other questions from, oh, we got in the room. So yeah, Shelley, go.
So would you say co-work compares to Copilot?
I never use Copilot because I'm not in the Microsoft ecosystem.
Mhm.
But here's what's interesting. So Claude came out with Cowork, right? And Claude Code, and it's all over. Everybody is loving it. So Microsoft said, ooh, we need that. So they're actually going to be using Claude Cowork inside of Copilot. But it's only going to be available at the $99 a month stage.
Because everything that you showed today, I already do with Copilot. So that's why I'm trying to understand what the difference is.
I haven't used Copilot, and could you ask it to go get somebody's email off of a website?
Absolutely.
Then more power to Copilot, but I don't use it.
Yeah, okay.
Copilot is GPT on the back end modified by Microsoft, and then with the higher subscriptions, they can access your Microsoft 365. They can get your OneDrive and stuff. That's one of the things. Well, I still kind of use Copilot. I like Cloud is smarter. The projects are better. I almost stopped using Copilot when I first signed up for Cloud because it can reach in my 365 environment and still has good use.
Interesting. Thank you.
And also what Claude can do. So I'm a Google Workspace user. You can connect Claude, and not as like Cowork, which is Claude, to your Google Workspace, and then it can go fetch data from you. So I'm just starting to work in Claude for everything. And that's what Anthropic want? Yes, I think it does.
So another question came in. Is the monthly price for Claude per person or for multiple people in the company? It's per person, I believe.
It's really, you guys, if you pay by the year, Claude is $17 a month. And then there's the Teams version. And maybe you have to have 5 people. You'd have to look.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do.
And then you can share projects.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
I need 2 more employees so I can have 5.
I know.
I can only share a conversation from a project with somebody else. I can't share the whole project. Mhm.
There is no one size fits
Yeah.
all AI, right?
And it's a technology that's a couple of years old, right? So
And now you can like use, you can tell cowork do things on your phone. I haven't tried it yet. So it not only changes, it changes daily.
yeah. Well, alrighty then.
I got a quick question.
Yeah.
Dana, I thought your workflow for the email was really interesting. I'm missing a piece though. Where did you get the emails at the beginning? Where you said you're on a Zoom call or a Zoom meeting, correct? And then are you getting the emails through an Excel spreadsheet and then you're uploading a screenshot of the spreadsheet, or what does that look like exactly?
No, so here's my workflow. I'm on a Zoom call within the women's network I belong to, right?
Mhm.
So then I take a screenshot of the Zoom call. So here's all the women with all their names. I put that into Cowork and I tell it to put those women's names on my spreadsheet, go to the networking site. I gave it permission to go to the networking site. It's searching for the women's emails on the networking site and then putting them on my spreadsheet.
It's pretty powerful.
And then getting into my Gmail and writing the letter I told it to write. So it's that. So really, I think AI makes you think through your whole workflow, right? How do you do things step by step by step? And also, just to plug, I'm going to be giving if you guys are interested in Cowork, I'm going to give an intro to Claude Cowork in a couple of weeks. You can go to my website because I think it's an amazingly powerful tool. And even if you're not going to use it, you should at least know about it because I think that's the future of work.
So Dana, with that, as we kind of close out, perfect prompt. Thank you, Trisha. One of the things we like to do with On Topic is because you provided today's seminar free of charge, which we were able to translate that to members and a lot of other people who aren't members yet for free. And that's kind of the way the On Topic series works. But we definitely want, tell us where people can find out more information about you, your services, and specifically, what is your website?
Yeah, so my website's Nova Consulting AI. I'm on LinkedIn, so you can go to LinkedIn, hook up with me on LinkedIn. And I wanted to give a free Claude. No, it's not a free Claude Cowork. I'm giving a Claude Cowork April 7th at noon. So if you're interested in finding out more, you can go to my website and there's a sign-up sheet.
You can always go to Bellingham.com, find a company or find a business, which is on the front page, one of the 2 big buttons, and it'll search Nova and Dana should pop right up.
And there you go. And I love talking about AI. And if you want to book a call to chit chat about AI and how it can help you, book a call.
All right. Well, this session has been recorded. There have been a couple people asked that via email and in the chat. That will probably be uploaded next week. And so we'll send that out through our newsletter. And so if you have any other questions, please let us know. If you appreciated this session, if you think there's other ideas, please feel free to email me, guy@bellingham.com. And we also are putting together what would be our 3rd AI on topic in the coming months with Gary Priam, who's another local consultant and member. And it's going to be on the ethical uses of AI, which again, one of the other pieces that we really need to consider some of the safety and security components. And so be looking for that information coming up in the next month or so. So with that, thanks for everybody for joining us. Have a wonderful rest of your morning and day.